Simon Cowell's journey to global recognition began long before he became a household name on talent shows. He built his reputation in the entertainment industry through persistence, sharp instincts, and an ability to identify what audiences wanted. Over time, he transformed from a behind-the-scenes music executive into one of the most influential television personalities in the world. His presence on shows like Pop Idol, American Idol, The X Factor, and Britain's Got Talent made him instantly recognizable. The public came to know him for his blunt honesty, often delivered without hesitation, and his strict standards for performers. While many admired his confidence, others found his criticism harsh, yet it was undeniable that he understood entertainment deeply. Behind the fame, Simon's life was defined by long working hours, constant travel, and an unrelenting focus on success. His production company helped shape the careers of numerous artists who later became global stars. Music, television, and business decisions filled every corner of his world. For years, he seemed entirely devoted to building an empire, rarely allowing personal matters to interfere with his professional goals. However, even the most structured life can shift unexpectedly, and Simon's story eventually moved in a direction he could never have anticipated. What began as a career driven by ambition slowly transformed into something far more personal, reshaping his priorities, values, and emotional world in ways that fame alone could never satisfy. Building an entertainment empire, Simon Cowell's rise in the entertainment industry was not accidental. It was the result of calculated decisions, sharp business instincts, and a willingness to take risks others avoided. As the founder of a major production company, he played a central role in shaping modern reality television. His ability to recognize raw talent and transform it into commercial success helped define an entire generation of talent-based programming. Shows under his influence attracted millions of viewers weekly, becoming cultural phenomena across multiple countries. What set Simon apart was his understanding of audience psychology. He knew how to create moments that sparked conversation, whether through emotional performances or his own direct feedback to contestants. His judging style, often described as brutally honest, became part of his brand identity. While controversial, it contributed significantly to the success of the programs he worked on. The entertainment world depended on his instincts, and networks trusted his ability to deliver ratings. Despite his success, Simon's lifestyle was heavily centered around work. Meetings, auditions, production schedules, and international travel dominated his calendar. Personal time was limited, and relationships often took a backseat to professional commitments. At the peak of his career, he appeared unstoppable, fully immersed in the world he had built. Yet beneath this fast-paced success, life was preparing to introduce changes that would shift his focus away from global fame and toward something far more intimate and life-altering. Personal life shifts and unexpected changes. As Simon Cowell's professional life continued at full speed, his personal life began to draw unexpected public attention. Around 2013, his relationship with Lauren Silverman became widely reported in the media, creating intense scrutiny. The situation attracted headlines, especially after details emerged involving her previous marriage and the involvement of Simon in the unfolding events. Public interest grew rapidly, and the story became a frequent topic in entertainment news. Despite the controversy, the situation eventually settled privately, and the media attention gradually shifted. However, what followed marked a significant turning point in Simon's life. The announcement that he was expecting a child changed everything. For someone who had previously expressed little interest in becoming a parent, the news represented a dramatic shift in direction. It introduced a new emotional dimension that had not previously been part of his carefully structured world. The arrival of his son marked the beginning of a new chapter. Priorities that once revolved entirely around work began to change. Professional commitments were still important, but they were no longer the only focus. The idea of family life introduced responsibilities and emotions that required adjustment. Simon found himself entering unfamiliar territory, where decisions were no longer just about business success, but about shaping the life of a child. This transition marked the beginning of a profound transformation that would continue to evolve over the years. Fatherhood and a change in priorities. Becoming a father brought a shift in Simon Cowell's outlook on life that few could have predicted. The arrival of his son, Eric, introduced a sense of responsibility that gradually redefined his priorities. For someone who had spent decades focused on building a global entertainment empire, the demands of fatherhood created a new center of gravity in his life. Work commitments, while still important, began to take second place to family needs. Simon started making noticeable adjustments to his schedule. Long trips were reduced, meetings were reorganized, and time at home became more valuable than ever before. Everyday moments, such as bedtime routines and early childhood experiences, began to hold deeper significance. The fast-paced world of television slowly gave way to a more grounded and personal environment. This transformation was not immediate or effortless. It required learning, adaptation, and emotional growth. Simon had to balance the demands of his career with the needs of a young child, something he had never experienced before. Over time, he began to embrace the role more fully, discovering a different side of himself shaped by care, attention, and emotional presence. Fatherhood introduced a new kind of fulfillment, one that was not measured by ratings or success, but by connection and responsibility. Early observations and subtle concerns. As Eric grew older, Simon began noticing subtle differences in his development compared to other children. These observations were not immediately alarming, but they gradually became more consistent and harder to ignore. Eric's responses to certain environments, especially noisy or crowded spaces, seemed unusually intense. He often appeared overwhelmed by sensory stimuli, reacting in ways that stood out during everyday situations. Another noticeable aspect was his communication development. While children around him began forming words and simple sentences, Eric's speech progress appeared slower. These differences led Simon to quietly observe more closely, trying to understand whether these patterns were part of normal variation or something that required attention. Despite these concerns, Simon initially reassured himself that every child develops differently. Friends and family also encouraged patience, suggesting that development timelines can vary widely. However, Simon's instincts as a parent began to grow stronger. His attention to detail, honed through years in the entertainment industry, made him particularly sensitive to changes in behavior and pattern. At the same time, Eric displayed signs of intelligence and awareness in other areas. He was observant, thoughtful, and capable of focusing deeply on certain activities. These contrasting traits added complexity to Simon's understanding of his son's development. Rather than clear answers, he found himself facing uncertainty, prompting deeper reflection and concern about what the future might hold. Growing parental awareness and emotional strain. As time passed, Simon Cowell's awareness of Eric's differences became more pronounced, leading to an emotional internal struggle. The more he observed, the more questions he began to ask himself. His experiences in the entertainment industry had trained him to notice detail, and those instincts now applied to his role as a father. He found himself analyzing behaviors, reactions, and developmental patterns with increasing intensity. This period was marked by emotional strain. While he continued to maintain a public image of confidence, privately he was navigating uncertainty. Parenting, especially in this context, introduced challenges that could not be solved through logic or professional experience alone. He began researching child development, seeking information that might help him better understand what he was witnessing. Despite his efforts, clarity was not immediate. Instead, he encountered more complexity. Every answer seemed to lead to additional questions, and the uncertainty weighed heavily on him. Yet, rather than withdrawing, Simon became more engaged. His concern was rooted in care, and his determination to support his son became stronger over time. This phase marked the beginning of a deeper emotional journey, one defined by learning, adaptation, and growing awareness of his son's unique needs. Search for understanding and professional guidance. As concerns continued to grow, Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman decided to seek professional advice to better understand Eric's development. This step was not taken lightly, but it was driven by a desire to ensure their son received the support he needed. Specialists in child development were consulted, and assessments were carried out to evaluate Eric's communication, behavior, and sensory responses. The process involved careful observation and structured evaluation. Experts asked detailed questions about Eric's daily routines, reactions, and interactions. Simon and Lauren provided as much information as possible, hoping to gain clarity. While waiting for answers, they remained deeply involved in Eric's care, continuing to support him through daily life. This period was emotionally challenging, as it required confronting uncertainties that had previously remained unspoken. However, it also marked a shift toward proactive understanding. Rather than relying on assumptions or informal advice, they turned to structured expertise. This decision represented an important step toward addressing their concerns responsibly. Throughout this process, Simon remained closely connected to Eric's daily experiences. He observed, learned, and adapted, ensuring that his son felt supported and secure. The search for understanding became not only a medical or developmental process, but also an emotional journey that reshaped his approach to fatherhood and deepened his commitment to his child's well-being. A defining family moment on vacation. A turning point came during a family trip when Eric was still very young. What was intended as a relaxing holiday quickly became a revealing experience. The unfamiliar environment, filled with noise, activity, and changes in routine, proved overwhelming for Eric. His reactions were intense and difficult to manage, drawing Simon's attention in a new and urgent way. One evening, during a crowded family setting, Eric became visibly distressed by the sensory overload around him. The sounds, lights, and movement seemed to create a level of discomfort that could not be eased easily. Simon's attempts to comfort him highlighted the challenges they were facing, as traditional reassurance methods did not seem effective in that moment. This experience marked a significant realization. It was no longer about isolated observations, but about consistent patterns that required deeper understanding. Following the trip, Simon and Lauren decided to seek further professional evaluation, recognizing that they needed expert guidance to support their son effectively. The vacation, intended as a moment of family bonding, instead became a catalyst for change. It highlighted the importance of understanding Eric's needs more clearly and reinforced the necessity of seeking answers that could guide them forward in a meaningful way. Seeking answers through diagnosis. Following their experiences, Simon Cowell and Lauren Silverman pursued a formal assessment for Eric. This process involved consultations with specialists, structured evaluations, and detailed observations of his behavior and development. The goal was to gain a clearer understanding of his needs and identify the best ways to support him. After careful evaluation, a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder was shared with them. The moment carried emotional weight, not because it was entirely unexpected, but because it confirmed what they had been gradually coming to understand. It provided clarity, but also introduced new responsibilities and learning curves. The diagnosis helped explain many of the behaviors they had observed, including sensory sensitivities, communication differences, and routine-based comfort needs. It also highlighted Eric's strengths, such as focus, pattern recognition, and attention to detail. This balanced perspective helped reshape their understanding of his development. Rather than viewing the diagnosis as a limitation, Simon began to see it as a framework for understanding how best to support his son. It marked the beginning of a new phase focused on learning, adaptation, and creating an environment where Eric could thrive in his own way. Understanding autism and adjusting perspectives. After the diagnosis, Simon Cowell began a process of learning and adjustment. Understanding autism required him to rethink many of his previous assumptions about development, communication, and behavior. It was not about changing Eric, but about adapting the environment and expectations to suit his needs. He learned about the importance of structure, routine, and sensory awareness. Everyday life had to be carefully organized to reduce stress and create stability. This included adjustments at home, changes in communication approaches, and increased reliance on professional support. Emotionally, this phase was transformative. Simon began to see the world differently, recognizing that success and development did not follow a single path. His perspective broadened, allowing him to appreciate small milestones and subtle forms of progress. Rather than focusing on limitations, he began to focus on strengths. Eric's unique way of interacting with the world became something to understand rather than correct. This shift in mindset was crucial in building a supportive environment where Eric could grow confidently and safely, reshaping home life and daily routine. Following the diagnosis, significant changes were made to the household environment. Simon Cowell ensured that Eric's surroundings were adapted to support his comfort and development. The home was adjusted to reduce sensory overload, with changes in lighting, sound levels, and room organization. Daily routines became structured and predictable. Therapy sessions were incorporated into the schedule, including speech and occupational support. Activities were planned carefully to ensure consistency and reduce anxiety. Even simple outings required preparation to ensure Eric felt secure. Simon became deeply involved in these adjustments, learning how to support his son through practical actions. He worked closely with professionals and adapted his own lifestyle to align with Eric's needs. This included reducing work commitments and prioritizing time at home. The transformation of daily life was significant. What once revolved around entertainment schedules and business decisions now centered on stability, care, and development. This shift represented a complete redefinition of priorities and responsibilities, relearning success and redefining achievement. As Simon Cowell settled into his new reality, his definition of success began to shift in subtle but lasting ways. For most of his career, success had been measured in ratings, record deals, global franchises, and the ability to shape pop culture. Those markers still existed in the background of his life, but they no longer carried the same emotional weight. What mattered more now were smaller, quieter victories that took place away from cameras and audiences. Progress was no longer about launching a hit show or discovering a chart-topping artist. Instead, it was about communication milestones, moments of calm during overwhelming situations, and Eric's growing comfort in structured environments. These changes forced Simon to slow down mentally, even if his professional instincts still operated at full speed. He began to see achievement as something deeply personal, rather than publicly visible. This internal shift was not simple. Letting go of long-held definitions of accomplishment created an emotional adjustment that unfolded over time. Yet, as Simon adapted, he found a different kind of fulfillment. Watching Eric grow in his own way, without pressure to conform to external expectations, gave him a renewed sense of purpose. Success, in this new sense, became less about influence and more about understanding, patience, and presence in everyday life. Emotional resilience. Behind closed doors. Behind the public image of confidence and control, Simon Cowell experienced moments of emotional vulnerability that were rarely visible to the outside world. The responsibility of caring for a child with unique developmental needs required not only practical adjustments but also emotional endurance. There were days filled with uncertainty, where progress felt slow and answers were not immediate. In private, Simon often reflected on the unpredictability of the journey. While he remained composed in public appearances, the emotional weight of responsibility was something he carried internally. He learned to process difficult emotions without external validation, relying instead on routine, structure, and personal reflection to maintain stability. This period strengthened his emotional resilience in ways he had not experienced before. Challenges that might once have seemed overwhelming in his professional life now took on a different meaning when viewed through the lens of fatherhood. The stakes were no longer abstract, they were deeply personal and constant. Despite these pressures, moments of joy continued to appear. Small breakthroughs, shared understanding, and quiet interactions with Eric helped balance the more difficult experiences. Over time, Simon developed a deeper emotional foundation, shaped not by fame or success, but by persistence, adaptation, and unconditional commitment to his son's well-being. The role of experts and continuous learning. A key part of Simon Cowell's journey as a father involved continuous learning guided by specialists and therapists. After Eric's diagnosis, the family worked closely with professionals who provided structured support and developmental strategies. These experts became an essential part of their lives, offering insights into communication techniques, behavioral patterns, and sensory management. Simon approached this learning process with seriousness and dedication. He attended sessions, asked detailed questions, and sought to fully understand the reasoning behind each recommendation. Rather than relying on assumptions, he embraced a mindset of education and adaptability. This allowed him to engage more effectively in Eric's development. Over time, this collaboration created a more stable environment for Eric. Therapy sessions were not isolated events but integrated parts of daily life. Each strategy was tailored to support consistency and reduce stress, helping Eric navigate the world with greater confidence. The experience also changed Simon's perspective on expertise itself. He began to appreciate the importance of specialized knowledge in areas outside his own experience. This humility strengthened his approach to parenting, reinforcing the idea that learning is an ongoing process rather than a fixed achievement. Strengthening family bonds through routine. As life became more structured, routine emerged as a central element in strengthening the bond between Simon Cowell and his son. Predictability helped create a sense of safety for Eric, allowing him to engage more comfortably with his surroundings. For Simon, routine provided clarity and direction in an otherwise unpredictable emotional landscape. Daily activities were carefully organized to reduce stress and maintain consistency. Morning routines, therapy sessions, and quiet time were structured in ways that supported Eric's needs. Over time, these repeated patterns became familiar and reassuring for both father and son. Within this structure, meaningful connections developed. Simple interactions, shared activities, moments of eye contact, or participation in preferred tasks became powerful forms of communication. These experiences did not rely heavily on words, but on presence and understanding. Through routine, their relationship deepened in a unique way. It was built not on grand gestures, but on repetition, patience, and attentiveness. This foundation allowed trust to grow naturally, creating a bond that was steady, reliable, and grounded in daily life rather than occasional events. Shifting identity in the public eye. As Simon Cowell's personal life evolved, so did public perception of him. The image of the sharp, critical television judge gradually expanded to include a more personal and protective dimension. Audiences who once knew him only through entertainment programs began to see glimpses of his life as a father navigating complex challenges. This shift in identity was not something Simon actively pursued, but it emerged naturally as aspects of his private life became known. Public reactions varied, ranging from curiosity to empathy. However, Simon remained focused on maintaining boundaries, ensuring that his son's privacy was not compromised by attention or speculation. The transition also affected how he was perceived professionally. While his career achievements remained significant, conversations about him increasingly included references to his role as a father. This added a new layer to his public persona, blending professional influence with personal experience. Despite this visibility, Simon continued to prioritize separation between public narrative and private reality. His focus remained firmly on protecting Eric's environment while navigating the challenges of being a public figure in a highly visible industry. Navigating misunderstandings and public perception. With increased visibility came misunderstandings, particularly regarding Eric's development and behavior. Public speculation often lacked context, leading to inaccurate assumptions that did not reflect the family's reality. This created additional emotional strain as misinformation spread through media and online discussions. Simon faced the challenge of deciding when to respond and when to remain silent. Speaking out risked increasing attention, while silence allowed speculation to continue unchecked. This balance required careful judgment and emotional restraint. When he eventually chose to share limited information about Eric's autism, it was done with the intention of reducing stigma and promoting understanding. The response was mixed, but it opened conversations about neurodiversity and developmental differences. Even so, challenges persisted. Public narratives often simplified complex realities, focusing on surface-level interpretations rather than lived experience. Simon continued to navigate this environment with caution, prioritizing accuracy, respect, and protection over public approval or engagement. Emotional growth through parenthood. Fatherhood brought Simon Cowell into a period of emotional growth that reshaped his understanding of life and relationships. Experiences that once seemed distant or theoretical became deeply personal and immediate. The responsibilities of parenting required patience, adaptability, and emotional awareness that developed gradually over time. This growth was not linear. It involved moments of uncertainty, learning, and reflection. Simon had to adjust expectations repeatedly, recognizing that progress often came in small, incremental steps rather than dramatic changes. This process helped him develop a more nuanced understanding of development and communication. Through this journey, he also gained insight into empathy. Understanding Eric's perspective required attentiveness to nonverbal cues, emotional signals, and subtle forms of expression. These experiences expanded Simon's emotional awareness in ways that extended beyond parenting. Over time, fatherhood became a central part of his identity. It influenced how he made decisions, how he structured his time, and how he viewed the world. This transformation represented one of the most significant personal evolutions of his life, adapting career expectations. As family responsibilities increased, Simon Cowell gradually adjusted his career expectations. While he remained active in the entertainment industry, his approach became more selective and structured. Projects were evaluated not only for professional value but also for their compatibility with family life. This shift led to reduced travel, fewer long-term commitments, and a more controlled schedule. Delegation became an important part of his professional strategy, allowing trusted colleagues to manage aspects of work that previously required his direct involvement. Despite these changes, his influence in the industry remained strong. His experience and judgment continued to shape projects, but his involvement was more intentional and balanced. This allowed him to maintain professional relevance while prioritizing personal responsibilities. The adjustment also reflected a broader change in perspective. Work was no longer the sole defining element of success. Instead, it became one part of a larger, more integrated life structure that included family, responsibility, and emotional fulfillment, private moments, and personal reflection. Away from public attention, Simon Cowell experienced moments of quiet reflection that played an important role in his emotional balance. These private moments often involved observing Eric during routine activities, appreciating subtle progress, and simply being present without external distraction. These experiences allowed Simon to process the complexities of his journey. Rather than focusing on challenges alone, he began to recognize patterns of growth, resilience, and adaptation. This reflection helped him maintain perspective during difficult periods. The simplicity of these moments contrasted sharply with the fast-paced nature of his professional life. They offered grounding, stability, and emotional clarity. Over time, they became an essential part of his daily rhythm. Through reflection, Simon gained a deeper understanding of both himself and his son. He learned to value presence over productivity, connection over recognition, and patience over urgency. These insights shaped his ongoing approach to fatherhood and life, managing public attention and media pressure. As awareness of Eric's condition became public, Simon Cowell faced increased media attention. Public curiosity often led to speculation, which placed additional pressure on the family. Managing privacy became a priority, especially when it came to protecting Eric from unnecessary exposure. Simon chose to address the situation carefully, sharing limited information to reduce misinformation while maintaining boundaries. His goal was to promote understanding without compromising his son's privacy. However, media interest remained strong, and public discussions continued to circulate. This period required resilience. Balancing public life with private responsibility became increasingly difficult. Simon had to navigate interviews, headlines, and public perception while ensuring that Eric remained protected from intrusive attention. Despite challenges, he also used his platform to encourage awareness and understanding of developmental differences. His approach emphasized respect, empathy, and support for families facing similar experiences. Over time, this helped shift parts of the public conversation in a more informed direction. Conclusion and reflection on a changed life. Looking back, Simon Cowell's journey reflects a profound transformation shaped by fatherhood and personal growth. His life shifted from one defined by entertainment success to one centered on understanding, care, and emotional depth. The experience of raising Eric reshaped his values and priorities in ways that extended far beyond his career. While his professional achievements remain significant, they are now balanced by a deeper personal purpose. Fatherhood introduced challenges, but also brought meaning and perspective that changed how he views the world. The focus moved from public recognition to private connection, from performance to presence. Eric's development became the foundation of this transformation. Through learning, adaptation, and unconditional support, Simon embraced a different kind of success, one defined by patience, understanding, and love. His journey illustrates how life can change direction unexpectedly, leading to growth that is both challenging and deeply human.